Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome. Today, we're talking about New World. The big question everyone's asking is it time to come back? With the new expansion just right around the corner, I'm going to share some of my insights about how much I've played the game and some recent changes and whatnot, and how I think it's going to impact the future of the game and the player base. So, let me start this conversation by stating I've got about 469 hours in New World. I played the heck out of it when the game came out, when it launched originally. I had PTO to burn with my job, so I ended up taking a week of PTO just to play the game, get a good feel for it. And as we all know, there were a ton of bugs, right? Lots of problems on launch. It's not uncommon for a lot of games to have issues on launch, but some of these I think experienced MMO developers might not have made. So let's kind of dig into the past to start. An argument can be made that the game just released too early. You know, it didn't have enough time to cook, even with the multiple delays. I think that it still released way too early, personally. Secondly, though, the other argument to that is a lot of those developers are just inexperienced when it comes to making MMOs, right? So that was definitely not something that worked in their favor, you know, when they're making the game. You know, the whole alpha of the game and then the whole change direction to make it more appealing to the masses than it was, you know, just mainly to be a PvP game. I can support and also not support that change at the same time. You know, without a player base, you don't really have much of a reason to play the game, right? A lot of people just won't play the game if there's no player base, right? That's where your content comes from. A lot of people just don't play the make your own content style of games. You know, we're looking at games like Life is Feudal MMO. I played the heck out of that game as well. I played Mortal Online 2. I've played quite a few games that were full loot PvP that were, you know, set up exactly the same way, and they just didn't have huge player bases or failed for one reason or another. So I don't entirely disagree with the change. Secondly, kind of touching back to the first thing I said about tons of bugs, there were tons of bugs and latency issues. Also, Outpost Rush wasn't open for at least the first week, if not 2 weeks. I hit like level cap in like 3 or 4 days max. And not having that PvP other than open world, you know, to go in and grind was a big killer for a lot of people, like a lot of the Battleground people, you know, for example. In my opinion, that's something that should have been available, you know, pretty much right away. You know, even let's just say after the first 3 or 4 days, go ahead and open it up. I think one of the issues with Outpost Rush, though, was they didn't end up placing that on a different server. From what I understand, that was part of the lag. It was instance on the same server. I don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it was. And then also we had the issue with the Ice Gauntlet and whatnot. I mean, it was just kind of like a clusterfuck of issues, you know, right off the get-go. And the other thing is lack of content. You know, in my opinion, a game shouldn't start when you hit max level. The grind to get your gear score up, or expertise as it's called now, was well, it was kind of boring, not gonna lie. You go to Merkgard and then you go back and forth between the two bosses in a massive, you know, group and hope you get upgrades. I mean, that was it for a long time until they changed that. They made Merkgard a lot harder, and I think that was one of the only ways where you could upgrade your gear score easily and effectively in that game, if I remember right. They made it harder, and the community challenged the devs to play their own game, and I think they ended up giving up after like 50 minutes. You know, they took 10 people into Merkgard post changes, and I think that was pretty eye-opening, and also very cool that the developers, you know, took that challenge and went in and, you know, tried to play their own game, because developers, if you're not playing your own games, trying to figure out how things are, then I think there's a big loss of perspective there. Moving on. Let's move on to the present. I've played about 10 to 15 hours of it here recently again, now that I've started seeing the player count rise on Steam charts. You know, it's had a pretty good uptick the last couple months. I think it was total about 10 to 15,000 players. I think it's closer to 10. And, you know, that's a good sign. So I was like, you know what? I'm bored. I don't have anything else to play. Let me go ahead and reinstall and take a look. Because, you know, we all got burned by a ton of the bugs and you know, just issues that plagued the game for the longest time. So how is it now? I think objectively the game is significantly in a better place. I think they still have improvements to make, but there have been a ton of improvements already. I don't have lag problems pretty much ever. A couple times because I was having internet troubles at home. A bunch of UI changes, nice quality of life changes for like housing upkeep, your storage. There's just a whole lot that's been improved upon, and I think it's closer to what I would consider a finished product. You know, we've got the group finder, we've got Arena 3v3s, which I think is one of the only places that I consistently have lag, and I'm not sure if that's just because it's a newer feature and they still got to work out some of the kinks or what's going on there. And then, you know, the Outpost Rush, you know, migrating everyone to create more popular servers, I think is a big thing, because now you can get Outpost Rush 24/7 on a lot of servers. I know on mine, I can pretty much get it any time of the day, minus like 6 a.m. Central Time, because everyone runs a train on all of the higher level areas, you know, Imperial, Merc Guard, Malevolence, as a big train. And I was quite impressed with the number of people that I saw show up to that. It was pretty significant. There's some more content now. The PvP reward track is nice. You can get rewarded with, I think it's called Azoth Salt. I think that's kind of like your PvP level. I think you can get titles from that. I've only completed like 2 tracks at this point, but there's been some nice rewards so far. And, you know, I've been consistently getting expertise bumps. I think most of my stuff's at 600 minus my like earrings and my earring ring and amulet. And then one of my weapons, I've been trying out the blunderbuss, which hell of a lot of fun. So, you know, all in all, there's more content with the group finders. There's mutators, which I think would be equivalent to WoW's mythics, and those are pretty fun. I've done a few of those. You know, just the first level ones, because you know you need an average gear score of like 602 to even queue up for like the first one or find a group finder. So, I mean, with the populated servers, even though they've been condensed into a few servers versus how many they had previously, I mean, like all in all, it seems fun again to me. I've had a lot of fun playing it these past few days again. I'd like to talk about the future now with the new expansion coming out here soon. I think it's rumored or potentially set for October 15th or sometime middle of October. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. And, you know, I've seen some other YouTubers do some videos like Asmongold, how he thinks New World is fun again, and the new content in the expansion seems pretty nice. I do have some concerns, but overall it seems like they're committing to adding more content, and they're just not giving up on the game like some developers would, you know, after a insanely high numbers in launch and then dwindled down to less than 10% or, you know, than what it was before. The overhaul of the new leveling areas they're doing, or not the new leveling areas, the overhaul of the leveling areas that they're doing seems like a pretty good thing in my opinion. The overall leveling experience originally I don't think was very intuitive or fun in my opinion. It was the same like 3 or 4 quests kind of over and over again just across the map, and you get bored and then you go do PvP and you get wrecked in PvP because you don't have, you know, a group or whatever. And it's, you know, at the time it was all about the Zergs, you know, in the beginning. And then you go back to leveling. I think the overhaul of the content's pretty nice. I've been out and explored some of the new changes that they have made recently. And it seems like the world feels more alive. There's just more stuff out there, right? And I think anyone can appreciate that developers are, you know, sticking with their game. They also are not, they're not increasing the gear cap. So 625, I believe, is what they have said it's going to stay at, which, you know, I have thoughts about. With a whole new expansion and new content, I think it'd be a good idea to give players a reason to, you know, go to the new area and, you know, experience the content, you know, for reasons like increasing their gear score and whatnot. And, you know, kind of do a little catch-up mechanic with everyone else who wasn't there previously, you know, get them to like 615-ish and then have them start whatever the new process is for that. I think that's going to be something that they're going to have to tackle because, you know, right now, everybody on these servers that have played, you know, since the start or have grinded super hard have all of the best in slot gear, with the exception of like the new great sword stuff coming out. Anybody who's swapping the Great Sword, you know, is going to have to get new perks on their gear. So, you know, there's that grind, but I don't think it's going to be that significant. The only other thing I can think of is potential issues with the new expansion. With the increase of players that we're seeing already, are we going to have overpopulated servers and high wait times to get back in? You know, I think they have talked about doing fresh start servers, which, you know, I think is a great idea. Everybody starts on the same page when the new expansion comes out. And I think a lot of players were kind of excited to do that, as far as the ones I've talked to anyways. So I think that's a really good idea. I don't know if I'll be partaking in that or if I'll just be continuing, you know, on my server. I guess we'll have to see how many people go over to the new fresh start servers. And then the other thing is, you know, what kind of potential new bugs are we going to have from this, from any of the new items that come out? You know, I know recently there was an issue where they had to stop player transfers again, or not player transfers, player trading again because of some duplication issues. And they're going to have to do something to combat the ever inflating market. So that's going to be a thing. So, you know, all in all, great potential for the new expansion. I think there's a lot of things going for it, especially with the increase in player count. People seems like they're ready to play it again. And, you know, one of the things I saw Asmongold say is the great thing about a buy-to-play game is that you just play it when it's good and don't play it when it's not. You don't have to worry about a subscription. So I think people will be easier swayed to come back to the game once things settle, once the dust settles after the new expansion hits. And hopefully going forward, we will have a better experience. And this could be like, in my opinion, the new unofficial relaunch of New World, where we could see a massive player uptick. So I hope that they're ready for that, if that's the case, because I know I'm ready. I'm really excited to play this game. Even with you know, the new WoW expansion coming out, I have my concerns on that, which we'll cover next week on Monday. And I hope you guys come back for that. All in all, though, I think the verdict for this game is it good again? Yes, absolutely. It's super fun. There's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of ways to increase your gear cap if you're behind. There's even a new profession, the music thing. That seems pretty neat. You can give people buffs if they tip you. You know, you can get easy money that way. All in all, the game is just in a significantly better state than it was previously. So I do hope that people do come back and start playing again. And if any of my buddies on Ruach, we're seeing this. My name's Kahin Wingblade on there. We're on Orafena now. If you remember me from our guild was Windsward Baptist Church, you know, hit me up in game, say hi. You know, I know you're all out there still looking to play, hopefully. So anyways, that's it for the video today. I hope y'all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.